Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Nick Baldwin. I'm co-founder of Lab Coat Agents. Thank you guys for jumping into the webinar. Here in Michigan, it's a snow day, so the kids are home. So I'm glad this is only 30 minutes because who the heck knows when they're going to need me. They probably need me now, the second I jump on a call. Dad! I'm like, why can't you just sit in front of the computer all day like a good little kid and play your video games? But I digress. Anyway, my name is Nick. Yeah, and I got Curtis Fenn. Curtis, you're at RedX. Tell us what you do at RedX so I don't
So
screw it up.
yeah, I'm the president of RedX. I've been here for almost 20 years now. So I
Wow.
we
All right.
we've been hanging out for a long time, doing a lot, helping agents get listings, increase their production. So
So tell me, you've been at RedX longer than I'm in a real estate agent, so I apologize for that. But no, but yeah, it's crazy. So 20 years. What was RedX doing 20 years ago? Like what, I want to just we can get into the topic of our discussion, which is gonna be about, how to get in front of people most likely to sell in the next 90 days and turn them into contracts. But in case you're not familiar with RedX, tell us what you guys were doing like initially 20 years
yeah,
ago, because
yeah.
it's
So
evolved over time.
when we started, it something that people think that is pretty normal today was pretty revolutionary. We were kind of the first technology to automate the process of finding out who the homeowner was and going out and finding their phone number and some contact information. So we started early on. We were just a data company. That's what we did, and we aligned ourselves with prospectors, grinders, we call them. Guys that just pick up the phone and
Smiling and
grind
dining.
all day. And from there it was like reaching demand. FSBOs for sell by owners is pretty. If you work expires, you might as well work for sell by owners. And then we got into the recession. It was like, wow, people really need to work short sales, so let's go do foreclosure data. And that's where we started. But over time, once you have all the data, the challenge is people don't know what to do with it, and that's even more prevalent now. In about 2019, these plaintiff attorneys discovered real estate, TCPA, and all of this stuff. And so, regulations combined with just societal changes of who wants to answer the phone, we started going, okay, well, we got to move away from beyond the phone and start having more ways that people can market and connect with and work this
Yeah.
same
And
data.
you had mentioned before we went live, you had mentioned like, for many, many years, you kind of were preaching, you're real estate agents, you're not marketers, but it's interesting because like I was saying that before, um, I was saying that, usually when people hear RedX, they go, "Oh, well, I don't like to make phone calls and I don't like to call FedEx. I don't like to use RedX. RedX,
Right.
FedEx, similar. I don't like to call expireds or FSBOs or whatever." But now you guys have this super robust marketing platform because I feel like you just mentioned people aren't answering their phones anymore. Like, I don't even know how we're getting through to people when we do, because how many potential spam calls on your iPhone are being silenced, right?
Yeah.
I don't even get it, doesn't even ring anymore. It says this call was silenced because it was considered spam. So you have to get around that. And
Yep.
the only way to do it is to just get on someone's screen, right?
Yep.
And so now you're saying uh you have to kind of market, right?
Yeah.
Because
I
before
would.
we were only salespeople.
Right. And I
You
would
know?
say this. I would say, look, there's a lot of marketers and there's a lot of tools and platforms and AI that can do a lot of the marketing, but you have to at least think like a marketer in today's
100%.
market. You have to think in terms of who is the target audience, who are the people that I want to go after, and where are they hanging out, and how do I get in front of them so that they notice me? I mean, that's what marketing is, right?
Right.
And so agents need to start thinking like that, and that starts with the target audience. It starts with, if you ask most agents, well, who's your customer? Well, everybody. Well, a marketer hates that because you
Yeah,
can't
right.
speak really direct to
To
everybody,
everybody. Yeah, it's
right?
true.
And if I'm talking to Nick, I want to know that Nick goes to the gym and that he's into bodybuilding and that he's got kids at
Yeah,
home.
who told you that?
Facebook, man.
Oh, Facebook, yeah.
Which again, take note, write that down. You want to really
No, that's
understand
true.
people. You got to listen to them online and learn who they are, because the more I know about that, the more I know about who my customers, the more I can connect and build rapport and relate to them. And that's really the topic that I wanted to talk about. And I just realized my digital background is on, and I'm going to turn it off.
Yeah, it looks good though. It doesn't look digital.
It's well,
It looks like,
we do have the real studio is like
oh,
that,
that's true. I've seen it. Yeah, but it looks
but
good.
I
Um,
like my mountains in the background better.
oh, that works too. We like mountains.
So
Yeah, it's funny because, oh, that looks good too. Where are you guys in
kind
Colorado?
of a gray area. I guess the clouds came in. No mountains
Where are you located?
in just south of Salt Lake. So Park
Oh,
City is
okay,
like
gotcha.
right over here.
Very cool. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting because we have no choice but to be a marketer now, and I always tell agents, um figure out your client, who your ideal client is. You know what I mean? Figure out your or client avatar is a fancy way of saying it,
Yeah,
but your ideal client. Who do you want to work with? I mean, who is the ideal client of Apple? While everyone seems to have an iPhone, that it's not. I mean, Apple's products are priced much more expensively than like a Toshiba
right,
satellite laptop. And it's because Apple wants to go after people who have a higher net worth,
right.
because they want to be seen as like a luxury product, even though they appeal to a lot of people. If you were to ask Apple who their primary target was, it wouldn't be someone making 35,000 a year working at a gas station. It would be someone who like had a C-level job and could seem,
Yeah,
they were like in this important situation. But just like with real estate agents, you can't appeal to everybody. Not
no,
everybody is going to be your
right.
client that you want to go after. You have to narrow it down. So how do you guys suggest we do that?
Well, it's if people haven't caught on to what we suggest, we suggest that one in today's market, you need to get more narrow than just one target audience. Even 5 years ago, you could be the first time home buyer person, or you could be, primarily focus on investors or second homes, or, those are buyer types. But
Yeah.
with NAR and the settlement and buyers, and one, we just feel like you need a listing strategy to build your listing production if
Yeah.
if you want to build a long lasting business. And you should target people who are most likely to sell. And there's a lot of AI tools out there that help you identify the most likely to sell, but there's not an AI on the planet that can predict better than what some of the lists are that exist, like a for sale by owner. So
Well, right. I mean, that's basically someone saying, I'm ready to sell,
right, right. So the
or an
list rate.
expired because they already did list.
Exactly. Well, and we have the data on this, right? So we have a lot of data, and we're just now compiling January, but I have all of 2024, and let's use for sale by owner. Well, let's use your database, because that's the number one source of business for most agents.
Yeah.
And most agents, the average database size for most agents is 1,500.
Okay. That's bigger than I
But as
thought.
I'm but as I'm on these webinars, that's pretty high. I think
It's
I think
very
that's
high.
because
I
you've
was
got
gonna
some
say, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but probably more around 3 to 500, right?
3 to 500 is pretty typical.
Yeah.
And so database for people includes like, oh, I bought these leads and I stuck them in here into my
Oh yeah.
database. Um, and but even at 1,500, the list rate of that is 3 to 4%. Meaning 3 to 4% of your database is going to turn over every year. That's the national turnover rate of homes and transactions.
Yeah.
So unless you hang out with people that have a higher list rate, then you're working really hard. You're doing all of the work. Think about what everybody does, Nick, for their sphere of influence. You're calling people, you're mailing people, you're dropping by their house, you're doing client, appreciation events, you are doing social media. All the social media is hoping that the people that you're connected with are going to see all of that. And what we're suggesting is don't do anything different. Do all of those things, just start to expand who you're doing that to. So let's use for sale by owners. For sale by owners, we know in 2024, 37.8% listed with an agent on the MLS in an average time of 44 days. So from the
Okay.
time they first list their home for sale by owner, the average is 44 days before they're going to list, and 40% of them are listing with an agent. Um, the other half, because NAR tells us that 80% of FSBOs end up using the assistance of an agent. Either they're paying a buy side commission or they're using an agent, paying them a fee for contracts or something. But 8 out of 10 of them use an agent. Half of them list with an agent on the MLS. That's
Yeah.
that's 10 times the list rate. So
Yeah,
you have
that's huge.
100 FSBOs, 10 of them are, 40 of them are
Hmm.
going to list. If you have 100 people in your sphere of influence, 3 or 4 of them are going to list. And so we're
Yeah.
not suggesting you do anything crazy, learn anything new. Just do those same things. Maybe call them, maybe send them some mail, do social media because people don't know, but you could do social media and target it to all of the for sale by owners in your
Totally. Yeah.
marketplace. And if you do those, it maybe even stop by their house. And if you're doing the same thing, you just expand to a new segment. You're gonna drastically increase the amount of listings that you're gonna get.
Here's the
And
thing. So, like, a lot of people say, oh, well, I don't like to call FSBOs or I don't like to call expireds. And I mean, no, I don't think there's an agent out there that like would tell. I mean, I'm sure there are some crazy, crazy ones that love it. But like, for the most part, I don't think agents love to cold call. You know what I mean? And the reason why they don't love to is because they don't know how. They don't know what to say. Like, if you're going to
right,
call and you're going to use the spiel that everybody else uses, like, oh, I'm not calling to list your house. I just want to take a look at it because I might have a buyer. Okay, join the club. You know what I mean?
right,
They're so you have to know what your value is at that moment. Like, yeah,
yeah,
you want to list their property. So why not stop beating around the bush?
yeah,
And don't be that agent that says you want to look at it because you have a buyer. Because
yeah,
guess what? You probably don't. You
right.
know what I mean? Bring me a
Well,
buyer. Yeah, no problem.
it's
Oh, I
it's it's
don't have a buyer because how could you possibly know that a buyer you have would like that house? So you can't say you have a buyer. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Well, it's funny you bring that up because in a lot of our studies, and in fact, in a lot of the training programs that we have for our customers, we find specifically around the phone. And again, I just want people to know there's a lot of ways that you can go after an expired listing or a FSBO or pre-foreclosure without having to pick up the phone. I still like the phone because it's you can talk to the most amount of people in the least amount of time. And
Yeah,
there's despite what we were talking about, there's still a decent connection rate, and there's still 50% of the numbers that are not on the do not call list. And
sure.
so there's still a lot of opportunity on the phone, but most people avoid the phone primarily because they don't know what to do if they do get an appointment. And like
And it's
and
like,
and, and you're
oh,
saying you don't
wait,
know how
hold
to,
on. You said
yeah.
yes?
And it's almost like this subconscious barrier to the prospecting where if somebody says yes, so we actually in a lot of our training we have like some master class things. We actually start with the listing presentation, not prospecting skills, because if you are confident you can go into somebody's home and secure a contract, then how you start the conversation becomes easier and easier, because people often don't know how to articulate their value. They don't know how to differentiate themselves from other agents. And so if in the back of your mind you don't know that, you're not calling with real intent. You're not
No.
knocking on their door with real intent. And so often, I mean, that could be a whole different webinar topic, honestly,
Well,
is
yeah, let me ask you this then. Like, okay, if we're gonna try to identify people who are gonna sell in the next 90 days,
yeah.
you know, is the simplest way to I mean, because if you have a database of 300,
Hmm.
3 to 500, technically one out of every seven people, this is like just stats, like on average, one out of every seven people in your database is going to sell or knows someone who's going to sell. So if you have a database of 300 and you're constantly keeping in touch with them, you should get 40 plus sales from your database every year with that statistic if you have 300. But like what would be the what's you're saying the simplest or the most effective way is to do what to identify these people?
Well, I mean, they should buy RedX because we'll just identify.
Yeah, well, that's true. I
You
mean,
know.
why not just get the data? Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, I mean, what we're saying is, I'll give you the stats of four lists right now. For sell by owner as a 38% list rate, um,
With an agent, yeah.
37.8%. Expireds is 43%.
Not that much
Um,
higher, actually.
so 40, well, it used to be much higher in
Okay.
previous markets. It was, but that's expireds and canceled. So expireds is higher if you're just looking at expireds without the canceleds. But expired cancels off market is 43% list rate. Uh, Pre-foreclosure, somebody who's filed a notice of default is 16%. Will list with an agent on the MLS. Vacant rental properties, we call them for FRBOs, for rent by owners. These are not
Yeah.
managed by a
Or
property
absentee
management
landlords
company.
or whatever.
They have a 7% list rate. But listen to
Okay.
this stat. When we look at a group of for rent by owners that had a conversation with the real estate agent, it's a 40% list rate.
Wow. All right.
And so that's like an untapped, high list rate. But the great thing about those, if they're not buying, then they're investors, or I mean, if they're not selling, they may be buying because they have a rental, right? So
Yeah.
there's opportunities in these lists to connect with and have conversations. So the same way that you're marketing to your sphere of influence to both get listings and referrals, market the same way to all of these other lists to get listings and referrals, or more importantly, get listings, because then you have a past client that comes into your database that will give you referrals. The highest referring people in your database besides your mom is going to be a FSBO or an expired, somebody
Yeah.
who tried to do it and couldn't, but you came in as the hero and did.
100%.
So those list rates are high list rates. So then the question is, well, how do I get their attention, right? And you get their attention in two ways. And I just want to make sure we deliver on the title here. You
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
their
No.
attention in two ways. Well, the first thing is you have to connect with people in their emotional state. This is us, Nick, talking about how you got to think like a marketer. So
Yeah.
so if you don't know how to put yourself in someone else's shoes, then go to ChatGPT and say, help me understand the emotional state of an expired listing right when their home expires, right?
Yeah.
And it will give you that stuff, or FSBO. And if you speak to that emotional state, you're going to catch their attention. And so we've done some surveys with expired homeowners, and we have some cool videos about with expired homeowners that you can find on our blog. But one of the most common emotions that agents don't understand that they're feeling is embarrassment. They're of course frustrated, and they are angry, and they're certainly angry that a bunch of people are hitting them up to get a listing. But really they're embarrassed. They've said goodbye to their friends and family. They've told everyone we're moving. They've
Yeah.
done all this stuff, and then it doesn't happen. And 6 months later, people are like, "Thought you were
You still
moving.
here?
I brought you bread because you were leaving."
Yeah. You said you were, remember that gift card? Can I get that back?
So they're embarrassed. And if you like, here's a social media headline that would capture the attention of expired. If you are targeting social media to an expired and you said, "Are you frustrated and embarrassed that your home did sell?"
Right. That's a
All
very
of a
good
sudden
point.
they understand that, and they hear that. Like, and you, if you apply that principle to all mediums, think of a postcard that you might get. Postcards right now, they're saying, are nearly 100% exposure rate because everyone's going to look at it before it goes into the garbage. So if you can have a big question across the top of your postcard that says, you know, are you tired of agents calling you trying to list your home when you're really frustrated? I don't know. I'm making this up as I go, right? We have some templates for our postcards that are like, wondering why your home didn't sell. It's like, yeah, I'm wondering why my home didn't sell. It's that stupid agent, right? Is what they blame, even though it was like, no, you were 80 grand overpriced. But it doesn't matter that you're connecting with their emotional state of where they're at. That's how you get their attention, is by getting, seeing that emotional state. And then you apply that to all of the different mediums. In marketing, you call that consumption marketing. People consume the messages in multiple ways. So you want to hit all of them. You want to hit them on social media. You want to call them on the phone. You want to knock on their door if it's a listing that you really want. You want to you want to hit them up on social media, and you want to do all those things with that similar message, because you're going to connect with their emotional state, and that opens the door for a conversation about what you can do for them.
I'm gonna drop this in the chat because I just asked ChatGPT, what is the emotional state of a recently expired listing homeowner? So I'm gonna just drop this in the chat. It's the link to the answers, so you guys can just use that.
Yeah,
It's pretty interesting. So frustration and disappointment, anxiety and uncertainty, skepticism and distrust, motivation or lack thereof, defensive and guarded attitude, and then there's bullet points under each one of those, right?
yeah.
And
Well,
then it says like how to approach them as an agent. Empathy, provide a clear plan, address their skepticism, give them space, don't be overly aggressive.
yeah,
So, if you're not using ChatGPT, while it's AI, doesn't have emotions. It can tell you how other people are feeling clearly.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, some great advice to like learn how to,
yeah,
because that's what products do, right? Like let's use Coke Zero. Let's use Coke Zero. Do you love regular Coke but hate the taste of Diet Coke? Try Coke Zero because it tastes like regular Coke. Oh my God, that's a huge problem for me, and now
right.
it's solved. You know what I
Yep,
mean?
yep.
You gotta solve
Yeah,
the
so
problem.
you speak to the emotional state in yeah, here's the big secret, that you tune in for. You need to find somebody where you understand their situation enough to know their emotional state, right? I suggest starting with people who are going to list in the next 90 days if you want to build a listing inventory. And
Yeah.
then you speak to their emotional state in multiple marketing mediums, in multiple ways. So, and of course, the shameless plug is we help people do that. Our platform allows you to do the postcards and the social media targeting and the phone calling and the door knocking, and gives you all kinds of tools and systems and ways to help you facilitate that process in a way that you understand who they are, um, kind of sometimes in a creepy way, like, hey, this person drives an SUV and they like horses. So that's, you don't want to use that in your script, but it can at least guide you in how you approach people, and creating that empathy that therapy GPT just gave us. Um,
Yeah.
so
It's interesting because like if we're going to discuss RedX and the evolution, I mean, social media is like we were mentioning before, how sometimes just these phone calls, if you're calling from like a robo dialer, it might not go through. If you're calling from your regular cell phone, you know, then it might go through. But like a lot of times we use these robo dialers and they don't, and there's a lot of crackdown on that. So why not get in front of them on the
yeah.
phone where they're at scrolling through Instagram and social and have that message? Do you think FSBOs list quicker? Like probably, right? Because they're already listed. But what I mean is like an expired seller may not list within a 90-day time frame after they've been on the
It's
market for 6 months, right? They might
well, no,
wait.
it's the average is, for all of 2024 is 47 days for an expired cancel to if they're going to
To
relist it.
relist.
The average
Oh,
is
that's faster
47
than I
days.
thought.
But here's what's really interesting. If you just It's seasonal. So if you just look at the beginning of the year, so all of the expireds that just happened in the last 6 weeks of 2025, the average for them to relist is 80 days. So so
Okay.
so you get a lot, and that's where the majority, January is your big expired month. Those
Yeah.
people are still looking for the right agent. Like, you haven't missed the opportunity for all of those expired and canceled to go make a quick video that says, hey, are you frustrated that your home didn't sell when, wondering why it took so long or it never happened? Here's 3 reasons why homes don't sell. And then you target all of those expired and canceled listings, and then drop them a postcard. Go knock on the ones that you're like, dude,
Yeah.
this is my specialty price range. I'm gonna go knock on these doors. Pick up the phone and call some of them. Right there's tremendous opportunity.
Well, and like you said, like Do phone calls work? Sure, they do, but they might not work on their own. Do social media ads work? Yeah, they do, but they might not work on their own. That's why I like when a lot of agents say do billboards work. Billboards work, but maybe not on their own. So
Yeah,
like if you're going to combine it with a plan, so reels on Instagram and TikTok, um postcards, a pre-listing packet, email drip campaign, a texting drip campaign, that type of stuff, so it all comes around as
yeah,
a package.
yeah,
And then they also get a sense of what I liked to say was when people go, I've seen your I've seen your Instagram posts. I've gotten your postcards. I've gotten your text messages. I've gotten your emails. You guys are relentless. I want to be like, wow. So what you're saying is my marketing's working? You know what I mean? Like they're complimenting you
yeah,
by insulting you
yeah,
without even
right.
knowing
Yeah.
it.
Thank you. That's how I'm going to find a buyer for your home all
Great.
the time. That's right.
Imagine I do that to find a buyer for your house. Can you imagine?
So, well, look, it's these principles, we have lists of people that have incredibly high list rates. Um, but these principles and even our platform, that's you're not narrowed to that. A very common thing that people are doing that speaks to what you're saying is we have a lot of people that use the platform for open houses. So you have
Yeah.
your open house, they'll pull in all the people around, like the 1,000 properties around, market the open house online, send a postcard to people around that are going to come, and then maybe even call the neighbors around the property saying, hey, we're having an open house on next Saturday.
Yeah.
And what happens is, one, statistically, people move within 10 minutes of their friends, family, or coworkers. So the likelihood that somebody in that neighborhood knows the buyer of that property is pretty high likelihood.
Yeah.
Um, but the other thing is, then you just the second most common person to come check out the open house is the person that's thinking about listing their house. I want to go
For
see what
sure.
this house looks like. So the
Might as
opens
well
is
invite
another
them.
really big thing right now. That you take these same marketing principles, speak to people where they're at in multiple mediums, and you're gonna start to see wins.
So just give a little insight into what RedX does
Okay.
and how RedX helps. Because I know you guys have like a whole marketing suite.
Hmm.
What are the different features?
Okay. So
Oh, wait,
we
someone's asking a question here real quick before we get into that. So we
okay.
might as well get to Valerie first. Valerie's asking, oh, where did it go? There it is. Can I ask what the difference is from the data we can pull on our local MLS for expires and withdrawals and FSBOs
From
than
Zillow
what
or
RedX
wherever.
provides?
Well, so the only difference is that we're appending more information to all of that. So we're getting the contact information, because in order for you to target on social media, you have to have a name, phone number, email address, and your local MLS doesn't have that information on the expired or canceled. Um,
True.
and Zillow often has a filter phone number that routes through, so you're not actually getting the homeowner's phone number. So what we're doing is we're getting the information necessary for you to be able to do all of the different marketing strategies, which I guess is kind of the same segue, answering similar
Well,
question that you just asked. Tell us what you do. So yeah, Valerie and everybody else, we start with finding and compiling the data of really high list rates, which isn't just finding and compiling, but then maintaining, cleaning, scrubbing, checking against the do not call registry, checking to see if the home is actively listed. Um, and and then once you have those, then we have all of these different tools to help you market those inside of a platform. What we tell people is, you're doing all of these activities in your CRM to your sphere of influence. Think of RedX as the CRM for people who don't know you yet. And so you're just doing those same activities. You're making social media posts. We have postcards and we have templates and things that you can mail to different people based on their lead type. We still have dialing technology that's powerful, because we scrub against spam flags. We monitor the phone numbers to make sure that it's not showing up as spam so that it can get through. We help you to understand the do not call registry and other regulated technology that you shouldn't be using for certain lead types. Um, and you combine all of those things together, then you get multiple mediums with the right message to a high intent list of people who have an incredibly high list rate.
Yeah, and Valerie's asking, so RedX has a better system for getting data. Yeah, they do, but it's like here's the thing. You're not going to find a homeowner's phone number and email address in the MLS because that would defeat the purpose of getting in touch with the listing agent. You're not going to find it on Zillow because homeowners would get extremely annoyed if
Yep.
everyone's phone number and email address was on their listing on Zillow, whether the house was for sale or not. So, the plus side to having that type of data is you're able to retarget people on social media because if you tell Facebook when you're creating an ad, if you have a list and you upload it to Facebook, Facebook will go through all of that data that you have, name, email, phone, address, whatever else you might have, and it takes that info and finds to the best of its ability a profile that's connected to that
Yep.
information. And
Yep.
therefore, when you run your ads, those are the people that are seeing it.
Yep. Yeah. And our social media tool does everything that you just described, Nick, automatically. It's a
Right. So
click
you
of
don't
a
have to
button.
go into
Yeah.
Facebook and do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the other benefit is it maintains the list, right? So let's use expireds, for example. If you want to target expireds, well, people are relisting. You don't want to be paying for ads to go to somebody who already relisted. And so on a daily basis, we can pull those out that have been relisted and we can add the new ones that expired the night before into that custom audience list that you're targeting on social media. So,
Well, also, yeah, the update, yeah, it updates the information
mhm,
in real time.
that's right.
So if someone changes their phone number or changes their email address, you guys have that ability to upload that change. We don't have to always upload our lists. Yeah.
Right.
And what are okay, so before Valerie chimed in, I asked you what are the features you guys offer in terms of marketing? Because obviously we know RedX has phone numbers we can call all
Mhm.
day long. But what
Yep.
else do you guys help us do outside of that?
So mailers, so postcards, we find to be the most effective again because you want to capture their attention. And the most obvious way to do that is with a postcard, so they don't have to open the letter before they think it's junk mail and goes in the garbage. So you can use your own, you can upload designs and templates, you could use ours, and from there you're just telling it who you want a postcard to go to, whether that's 1 or 500 people, and it goes through. And we only charge 88 cents. That's with postage. So
What? 88? Wow, that's great.
yeah, so I think I've got one lying around here. So they're big, 6x9, glossy. They're
Oh, those
nice.
are big.
It gets branded to you. They have QR codes, because again, you want to know if somebody is interested. They scan the QR code, then you'll get a text message that says, "Hey, the person
Yeah, that's the
this
best.
address just scanned your that." So the postcards and mailer, and then social media. We have what's called Ad Builder, which is where it creates all of the custom audiences. You can create ads. We have templates. I usually tell people don't use the templates. Like your face and your voice is the very best thing that you can use on those ads. And then we have what's called Brand Builder, which is more of the content creation side, where you can use teleprompters and record the videos that you would use in your email or in your social media, to these people. So, of course, you can connect your email. We don't suggest that you bulk email any cold list, because that just kills your email address. You
Yeah.
do that more strategically. But again, we'd spend 30 minutes telling those best practice. They can watch the course on that when they get the
Yeah.
system.
I mean, you're seeing all these agents out there doing these cool reels on TikTok and Instagram. How are they doing it? RedX does it. You
Yep.
got editors, you throw captions on there, make it look cool with some B-roll, make it edited, not like the choppy editing, the cool, like, editing that people love. So
Yep.
that stuff is, and if you're doing like a series of like how to get your home sold in this market, that type of thing, and target it to the right people, it's going to resonate with them.
That's right. Yep.
Cool, cool. So, all right. So we dropped in the chat here. If you go to redx.bz/LCA, um, there's some pretty good deals. I think we have, what do we have? A discount on something. Let me see. Where
Yep.
is that? Oh, the
Yep, it's
setup fee is waived.
yep, we waive all the setup fees. There's no contracts. Our goal is to get people getting listings so they never cancel. I'm actually typing that link in to make sure it goes
It
to
does. I
where.
clicked on it.
Okay, all right,
It works. So for sale by owner, you got Emily Peckham here on the website, and she's pretty badass. And she is a FSBO expert, and she listed she used RedX FSBO tool and closed 160 transactions. So like if you don't believe us, believe Emily. She's on the homepage here on the link in the chat.
even in
Uh,
our Facebook group this morning, we had one of our customers. His name's Richard. Took a picture of his whiteboard. He's listed 17 listings, all of them right around $1 million listings this year so far in 6 weeks. 17. So,
That's
you
awesome.
know,
And I love this map feature. There's a map feature where you can kind of like draw lines. So if you want to start farming an area, you can get very specific with the map and pull up phone numbers and emails and physical addresses and so on and so forth. So I think that's a pretty um sweet feature there. And is it month to month?
it is month to month. Yep.
Okay, so it's
Month
month
to
to
month
month.
plans
And you
start
can
as low as $50 a month. Or you could get pretty much everything that we offer for, less than $400 a month. So,
including the marketing stuff.
most of all of the marketing tools, the only thing that costs extra then is the video editing side. But
Gotcha.
not
Gotcha.
everybody needs that, because you could just make the video and use the video. You don't need all those caption
Right,
stuff,
you don't
or
have to do all the fancy
or
stuff. Yeah.
or you could do those natively on most of the platforms. And then of course postcards. If you pay for the postcards as you send them.
Yeah, and they're under $1 each, so that's pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So
Love it, love it. Well, okay, if anyone wants to reach out to you specifically, if they're on the fence and they want to ask some questions
yeah,
beforehand, do you have an email address or a
yeah,
link
yeah.
maybe?
Just if you're looking on the Zoom, Curtis Fenn at redx.com.
Okay, I'll just type that in at red redx.com. So email Curtis. He can answer all your questions. If you just want to go right ahead and get started, click on this link for 149.99 in savings
Yep.
and give it a try and listen, here's the thing. You gotta give it your all though. You can't just try it for like 2 weeks and say this didn't work. You know what I mean? You gotta give
Wait,
something at least.
wait, Nick, you're saying you didn't get a gym membership and start building those guns without having to put in any
I
work?
mean, listen, I went to the gym like 3 or 4 times and nothing happened. So 3 or 4 times over the course of a year, nothing
That's
happened.
right.
Um,
Hey, for anybody also, I'll just type in the number here. We have amazing team uh, accounts and team functionality for team leaders to get their people going. We train your people on how to prospect, how to do social media, and all of that. And so if you're a team leader that wants to increase your agent's production, just call us and do a demo. It's no
oh,
risk.
okay.
We're not,
Yeah, that's
we don't,
cool because we didn't want to do a demo on this call
no.
because we wanted to have more of a conversation. But definitely like go check out what it can do because it is pretty sweet what it's been. I remember, I mean, I've been in the business for 18 years. I remember when RedX, you guys were, 20 years ago, I was in, and I saw what you guys used to be able to do, and it was literally just numbers and email addresses, and now it's like so much more. So I would
Yeah.
definitely at least take 30, 40 minutes and see what it does because it's pretty amazing.
Awesome.
I dig it. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate you being here. If you missed this, you can rewatch it again on our YouTube channel. Go to YouTube and type in Lab Code Agents. It'll be up there in the next couple days for a replay. And reach out to Curtis. Click on the link, make the call, do all the things, and you won't be let down. So have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Okay. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate you.